Hello, my beautiful book friends, and welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. We're starting this vlog on a Tuesday. And I do have to say, it's a very bittersweet weekly reading vlog because I am a middle school math teacher and I go back to work on Friday to start our PD and students come back next Wednesday. So I'm embracing all of these days of sleeping in and cozy and not having any responsibilities while I can. So let's talk about what I'm gonna read to kind of distract myself from the fact that I go back to work so soon. I am in a romance mood. These moods come very rarely throughout the year, but right now I am deep in a romance mood. I've got several books to choose from, and so yesterday I asked Instagram to kind of blindly pick based on emojis what romance I should start with, and the one that got picked was When in Rome by Sarah Adams. Now, I have a super sweet subscriber friend. She's a member of my Patreon. Her name is Corinna, and she so sweetly sent me 2 books last week. I read one of them last week. It was In the Weeds by B.K. Borison, and she also sent me this one. And honestly, I'm really glad that this one got picked for a couple of reasons. I already own the sequel, Practice Makes Perfect, and I know Sarah Adams is working on the 3rd in the series right now. So there's lots to choose from if I love this world that she has created. And secondly, this is a clean romance. Y'all know I don't really mind the spice and the smut in my romance books as long as it's not like extreme and gross. But I am taking this book on a little day trip tomorrow. I'm going to a drum corps, I don't even want to say concert, I'm going to a drum corps competition with DCI tomorrow, and I'm going with my best friend, and we've taken this trip. This will be our 3rd year going, and because he still has to work, we find a coffee shop to kind of hunker down in during the day, and I read, get YouTube, get school stuff done while he goes through his work day. And so it's going to be kind of nice reading a romance where I don't have to worry about like all of these eyes on me while I'm reading a spicy scene, and I can just enjoy this wholesome romance between a pie maker, come on y'all, and I think that she's either like a pop star or a movie star, and I think this is influenced by Roman Holiday from Audrey Hepburn, if I'm not mistaken. I have read 2 other Sarah Adams books. I read the cheat sheet and the rule book, and they were both like 3.5 to 4-star reads for me, but almost everybody I hear talking about this series has really enjoyed the book, so I'm very excited to pick this one up. She's a short little contemporary romance, and I'm just here to embrace the romance mood that I'm currently in. Yes, I'm also still in the middle of City of Brass. If you watched last week, you know I'm kind of just giving you like updates as far as page number with this one because I am filming a spoiler vlog for my Patreon with this one because it's our series read along, and we have a live show coming up on July 30th, so I've got to get through this book. I'm just kind of listening to it as I get stuff done, and I am really enjoying it, so spoiler alert there. And then after I finish When in Rome, it's finally going to be time to pick up this buddy read of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I am going to be buddy reading this with a friend over on Instagram, and I'm very excited about it. Now, it is a rainy, gloomy Tuesday in Mississippi. It's going to be rainy and gloomy all week. I really hope that doesn't put a damper on our trip tomorrow.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would.
Good morning, guys. It's 5:45 in the morning. Doing great. I ran to my neighborhood gas station to get some coffee this morning because I'm out at the house, and I don't think we're gonna stop and get coffee until we get to Hattiesburg. So it was necessary today. I could not go to sleep to save my life last night. That always happens like the first time I have to wake up early for something after a long stretch of not. I cannot make myself sleep. On top of that, I was having like sensory things while I was trying to sleep. Like I could feel every strand of hair on my head, and then the ones that were like touching my forehead that I couldn't slick back were driving me crazy, and like I could just feel all of it. But we're here. I think I got like 3.5 hours of sleep. We're doing great. the coffee will help, the coffee will help. But I also wanted to say I started When in Rome last night when I couldn't sleep, and I am loving it so far. Why am I surprised? I've liked both books that I've read by Sarah Adams, which are the rule book and the cheat sheet, and this one is not disappointing me either. We have Amelia, who is a pop star, but like she is just overwhelmed by life. There was a passage in there that reminded me of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart by Taylor Swift. I'll try and read it for y'all later. But she just is like, you know what? I'm gonna get away. I'm just gonna go. And so she gets in her like childhood, well, her teenage car, and she just drives until she finds Rome, Kentucky. But before she can get to the bed and breakfast, her car breaks down. And it breaks down pretty much in the front yard of this man who comes out and like knocks on her window, and he's like, are you okay? And stranger danger, first of all, but also she's like a famous pop star without her security detail. And so she's like, I am not opening my window for this man. He's pretty much like the woman who raised him along with his grandmother. Her name is Mabel. She is already such a character. She gets on the phone with Noah, and Noah hands Amelia the phone and is like vouching for his character. So she finally agrees to stay the night at Noah's house. He's got a spare bedroom, and wait until she can get her car fixed and make it to the bed and breakfast. It's just really adorable. I was updating y'all at the gas station, but then there was a guy in the car beside me and he wouldn't leave, and I was like, he's probably watching me vlog, and then it felt weird. So anyway, I was telling you all about When in Rome, and I didn't tell you that this is going to be a grumpy sunshine trope, because Noah is like super grumpy and is like super closed off to the idea of female companionship, and Amelia just is a blabbermouth and will not stop talking and keeps like putting her foot in her mouth. And yes, this is a clean romance. There's not going to be any spice, like, you know that going into it, because this is old school Sarah Adams. She does put spice in some of her newer books. But I was surprised that there is language, which none of this stuff bothers me. I just know that I do have viewers who care a lot about profanity and about spice levels, so I want to be fully transparent with everybody so that no matter who you are, you know what you would be going into if you pick up a book that I recommend. So just throwing that out there, but I'm enjoying it, and I think it's going to be a really fast read on my trip today. Brent is on his way here, and then we will be leaving. I'm going to sip on my coffee till he gets here because I can already feel it. My first matcha. Hey guys, midday update. We are having a really good time in Hattiesburg. We stopped at a cute bakery and got breakfast, read a lot there, got lunch at this place called Big Trouble, which was Big Trouble? Yeah, Big Trouble. And it was so cute, and the food was so good and so cheap for everything that we got. And now we are at Equinox Coffee, where I just tried my first matcha and I really liked it. Now granted, it's like strawberry cupcake flavored, so I don't know how much matcha I'm actually tasting, but I digress. I like it. It's only 80 degrees. You'll notice I'm in a sweatshirt because in the coffee shop it's cold. But I've also been reading a lot today. I've made it to page 94 of When in Rome, and it is adorable. I don't know why I was thinking it was going to be like cheesy and hokey. It's not. It's really, really cute. It's kind of like if Taylor Swift had a quarter life crisis and just like left like nobody knew where she was, and she broke down, and a pie making Luke Danes rescued her, and she spent this time in a Gilmore Girls town, and it's narrated as if Lorelai Gilmore, with like all of her quippy little fast talking, is narrating it. And we've got all of Noah's sisters who are just like the cutest. I'm having a great time. Why am I surprised? I'm in a romance mood. I'm having a great time. But we're here at the coffee shop for a little bit longer. I'm gonna get some more red. I kind of want to fall asleep because I woke up at 4:30 this morning, but I'm not going to. And then we're gonna go see some drum corps. Great day. Well guys, it is here, the first day of work. It's Friday, which means I didn't vlog at all yesterday, and I will absolutely fill y'all in on everything that went down after my last clip in Hattiesburg. It was crazy, but I'm at the high school for convocation and I have to go in and be social. But we are sponsored by Dunkin', and they give us coffee and donuts, and I'll update y'all later from my classroom. Hey guys, I realized that I never updated you or showed you my classroom or anything, and that's because from the second I got in there, I was hard at work and nothing is done yet. So I'll show you my classroom once it's done and clean and everything is where it's supposed to be. But I just listened to City of Brass while I worked in there today. I will say honest time, I was really dreading going back to work, readjusting my sleep schedule and just all the things that come with that. But we had a really good convocation speaker today. He is a headmaster at a school in Virginia called the Veritas School, which is crazy because I went to a high school called the Veritas School that doesn't exist anymore. To see like a private school headmaster giving a public school their convocation speech, but it was excellent. He talked a lot about like what our role is as teachers is not to teach for the day and be done, but it is to prepare kids for the road or for the life that is ahead of them. And we talked a lot about like, we want to be so soft with kids. And a lot of that is projections of like our anxieties and insecurities onto kids. We worry about ourselves, and so we over worry about kids, and we don't let them soak in the struggle. And struggle is such an important part of life. If you don't know how to cope with struggle, then you're not going to know how to cope with a lot of things. And so that was kind of the aim at our convocation speech. There's a book called The Anxious Generation that he spoke about, and I think we're going to be doing a book study on that at work. But now I'm home, obviously, and I'm watching some Olympic footage, and I haven't gotten my book out of my backpack yet, but I'm gonna try and finish When in Rome so I can start my Buddy Read of Project Hail Mary with my friend tonight too. I think I have like 120 pages left of When in Rome, and if I sit down and focus, that shouldn't be hard. But I'm just excited about kind of like a comfy, cozy evening after a hectic day. It's supposed to rain, I've got cats with me, and I hope you guys are also having a great Friday night. And if you are watching the Olympic opening ceremonies, because this will be posted afterwards, let me know what your favorite part of the ceremonies are. I always get so excited about the opening ceremonies. It's like 5 p.m. on Saturday, and I feel like I've been such a bad book vlogger this week, but bear with me, it's been a week. So first, let me catch y'all up on our trip. We went to Equinox Coffee, which was the last clip that y'all saw, and then we just realized that the weather was starting to look bad, and it might just be better to not risk driving on the roads. So we ended up finding a place to stay. Went there, took all of our stuff there, and then went to the stadium, not really knowing what to expect. Maybe it could get rained out, but we waited for like an hour and a half to 2 hours underneath the stands. And this is nobody's fault, it's just the way it was. But I mean, y'all know how much I can't do noise, and it got so loud underneath those stands. We were drenched in our ponchos, and there were like groups of teenagers because DCI is frequented by a lot of teenagers, band kids who are really, really passionate about it, which is great. But there would just be like shrieking and screaming and yelling underneath stadium, so it's like amplified, and it really, really started to get to me. But as long as my best friend was like talking to me, I was a little bit distracted. And then an hour and a half into all of that, it did get canceled, which was a bummer for a lot of reasons. Obviously, we're excited about it. We do this trip every year. It's the only place it comes to in Mississippi, and there's no refunds. So a little bit of a bummer, but we did have a lot of fun in Hattiesburg. It's the home of Southern Mississippi University, if you're not familiar with Mississippi. Just kind of like getting coffee and finding different places to eat. And I don't regret going on the trip at all. I'm just sad that DCI got rained out. Yesterday was our first day of professional development. I think I did catch all up a little bit on that. And then last night I like got all nestled in to watch the Olympics, the opening ceremony. My head started like killing me at the base of my skull. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna be able to finish watching this tonight. So I took an Excedrin and went to sleep, woke up in the middle of the night, it was worse, woke up this morning, it was even worse. So I have been doing like every hack I can find on TikTok to get rid of a headache. I drank a Coke, I drank a Gatorade, I napped for a really long time this afternoon. And I want it to be gone because I have book club tonight. Y'all know I'm a part of 2 in-person book clubs. This is for a book that I DNF'd. It's called Sure, I'll Join Your Cult by Maria Bamford. And it's not that I didn't like the book, it's that I was in a very like anxious headspace when I was reading it, and it deals with a lot about anxiety and mental health. And she is, I wanted to say a narrator. She is a voice artist for a lot of animated shows. So I want you to like imagine her voice, which is an amazing voice for her career, but like reading topics about mental health with her like very, very peppy voice, I just wasn't in the headspace for it. So I'm still gonna go and discuss. We're getting pizza, there's gonna be cookies, so it'll still be a fun time to catch up with friends. I just didn't finish this book. Now, as far as reading goes, I'm still in the middle of City of Brass. I'm still in the middle of When in Rome, which I did read 2 chapters of today, but I'm also starting my buddy read of Project Hail Mary with M today. And this was actually the perfect book to have on deck while I'm struggling through this headache, because everyone has told me to read the audiobook. So I got a hold of the audiobook and I just laid in this bed for hours today. And I would just do the little timer on Audible and say, cut the chapter off when it ends in case I needed to fall asleep. I could go back and figure out what I missed. But I was so captivated by the book that I didn't ever miss anything. I didn't fall asleep. I just wanted to keep listening in the dark, in the cold, and so that's what I did. And I'm happy to report that I am loving it so far. We are following a nameless narrator at this point. I'm sure he's going to figure out his name because it's in the summary. But he wakes up in this situation where he's like in this bed with robots prodding at him, and he's all connected to wires and stuff, and there's other people in the room with him that are dead. And immediately there's like this computer that starts asking him questions about himself, I guess, as like a security detail, and he can't remember anything about himself, but through his interactions that he starts to have on this spaceship. And by interactions, I don't mean with people because all the other people are dead, but interactions with the robots, interactions just with like cause and effect that he finds on, I wanted to say on the ship, I don't even know if it's a ship yet, but cause and effect interactions that he finds in this like lab or this room. He's starting to make deductions and piece together memories about who he was before he was in this space. And there's a lot of math talk so far, and as a math teacher, I'm having a lot of fun with it. But so far, like I said, I'm really, really captivated. I can't really tell you much more because I'm just as confused as the narrator is in the story, but I'm having a really fun time. This is my first Andy Weir book, and it is so engaging. So now I'm in the middle of 3 books. I need to finish City of Brass by Tuesday. I can do it. I've got classroom setup going on. I can do it. Hey guys, happy Sunday evening. It's time to wrap up the vlog. And I only finished 1 book this week, but I was in the middle of so many books that I still feel like that is an accomplishment. So I finished When in Rome, laying on the couch today, watching the equestrian cross-country event. It was a replay, but I'm a horse girl, so the equestrian events of the Olympics are always my favorite. And I do need to update you guys on this book because I know when I was in Hattiesburg, I was telling you that I was absolutely having the best time. While I still really liked this book, it did go downhill a little bit in the second half. I just felt like things were like too sweet. Does that make sense? Does that make me sound really like pessimistic and awful? I don't know. So the setup of the story doesn't really change from what I told y'all. We have a pop star, her car broke down. Noah, the grumpy pie maker, kind of takes her in and lets her stay at his house. And these two like have an instant attraction to each other, and they have their own reasons for not wanting to act on that. And it just continues on throughout the book. And we were in the characters' heads so much instead of like having conversations with each other. But then whenever we're like describing each other or describing how the other one is making us feel, it's just like a little bit too sweet. Maybe it's like an overuse of similes and metaphors for how the person looks or how the person is making us feel, and it just got a little bit too sweet. And then as far as, you know, I told you guys this was a closed door romance. That is true. I will say though, if you're wanting like a completely clean romance, I don't think that this is the book for you either, because while it is closed door, it's closed door because it's implied that things do happen between our two characters. Not something that personally bothers me at all. I am a spice, no spice, implied spice. I'll read any of it. But again, I know I have followers who do care a lot about that stuff, so I want to be upfront with you guys when I'm talking about a book. I also felt like everything at the end kind of like avalanched upon us. It wasn't a 5-star and it wasn't quite a 4-star. So When in Rome is getting a 3.75. As far as the other two books I read go, City of Brass, I'm over halfway through. We moved our live discussion ahead a week, so I don't feel quite as pressured to get that book read. I'm enjoying it. And then the other book I'm reading is Project Hail Mary, and before the end of tonight, I need to get to page 100, and I am through chapter 2 right now, which is like 40 pages in. So I'm about to get some chores done and listen to that, and that is the end of the vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me on my trip. Even though the event got rained out, I still had a lot of fun. Oh, I did want to tell you guys, I have had a headache since Friday night. It's finally gone. I tried everything. Excedrin, Aleve, ice cold Gatorade. In case it comes back, I'm drinking a Coke and I don't even like Coke. But on TikTok, I literally was just scrolling through at-home remedies for headaches, and I saw one that said to put an ice pack like on your head or your neck, wherever it was hurting, and mine was like all the way back in here. So I put an ice pack back there. I filled a big bowl up with ice water and stuck my feet in there, and friends, when I tell you that like sucked my headache right on out, there's your tip for the day. You're welcome. If you watched all the way to the end of today's video, why don't you leave me any kind of athletic emoji? A swimmer, a runner, a shoe, a torch, whatever speaks Olympics to you. I would love to see it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys are reading, and I'll catch up with you on my first full week back at school. Bye, guys.